Go ahead and call this meeting in order. First item is roll call.
Alderman Arnold. Here. Alderman Bray.
Here.
Alderman Cleaver.
Here.
Alderman Knox.
Here.
Alderman Mills.
Here.
Alderman Skinner.
Here.
There is a quorum.
Okay, next item be invocation led by Pastor Jason Williams of Valley Community Church, followed by a pledge of allegiance from Alderman Mills.
Pray. Father, we thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight, God. I pray your blessing over everything that goes on. Lord, we thank you for our leaders, God, those that devote time, God, to lead this community. Help us continue to move in a direction that's honoring to you and pleasing to you, God. I just pray that you would watch over, protect, keep them, God, in all that they do, God, for their service to this community. God, we thank you for all that you're doing, and God, we ask you to bless everything that goes on here tonight. In Jesus' name we pray.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The next item is approval of the agenda.
No changes, Mayor.
All right, seeing no proclamations, we'll move on to public comment. We ask the citizens come forward to the microphone and podium if they wish to address the board, and make sure you've signed in with your name and address for the record. Do we have anyone who wishes to address the board this evening?
I'd just like to start by recognizing the elected officials and the city staff present tonight and their dedication to the city and time away from their families to discuss city business. So I promise I'll make it short and as nice as possible. My first concern is with the tone of elected officials speaking in public forums and on social media. There have been several elected officials who seem to have a difficult time articulating their point of view, not only to one another, but to their constituents without resorting to unprofessional and disdainful language. I'm not sure if there's training or guidance put in place for elected officials, if there's maybe something more rigid, like a code of conduct that needs to be put in place in regards to social media. As representatives of Grand Valley, it detracts from the city's image and is falseful to say the least. My second concern is term limits regarding members of appointed city boards and commissions. For example, the Planning and Zoning Commission. These positions carry lengthy terms, 4 to 5 years, with many commissioners being appointed through several terms. These lengthy back-to-back appointments of critical commissions and boards not only erodes public trust and preponderance of self-interest over public interest, but prevents new perspectives and concepts. An example of just how disenfranchised some officials are from their constituents, the board last year voted to approve the development of apartments in an already densely populated area, regardless of the general public's opinion. I think most of you know what that is. As the city of Grand Valley continues to see exponential growth and prosper, so should our perspectives. Having a sitting mayor or alderman for 6 to 8 terms is antiquated. After so many years of humble public service, I imagine some of you welcome the opportunity to pass on the torch, so to say. And that was all I got.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else wish to address the board this evening?
I wanted to come to express some concerns about some recent decisions as well as some, again, behavior of some city council members. This board voted in favor. Voted in favor of some commercial apartment buildings right in the middle of a large multifamily neighborhood. I'm not ignorant to the understanding of city government, economics, zoning, or the importance of bringing commercial development to Grand Valley. I'm a big supporter of responsible economic development and the benefits it will bring to our city. But as aldermen, you have a duty to vote on behalf of the wishes of your constituents. And if you poll the residents of Grand Valley, the overwhelming vote would have been no on this project. It doesn't fit the characteristics of the neighborhood, nor does it take into consideration how negatively it will affect the aesthetic and the value of the neighboring properties. As an owner of one of those properties that's within 185 feet of this project, I was never notified in writing of this plan. I can't help but to believe that was kind of by design. Before you say it was printed in the Examiner, the median age of your constituents is about 33 years old, and we don't read the Examiner. The ones who did show up here, I think, were ignored. The information about this project, every time it was posted on the residence page, there was an overwhelming response, and no, nobody wanted it. I've lived on Snybar for 9 years. I'm very aware of the challenges that it faces. One of the big ones is Snybar Elementary. Of the 4 schools we have here in Green Valley, 3 of them are ranked in the mid 400s out of 1,037 schools. Snybar Elementary is ranked 772nd. It is the largest disparity of any city similar to ours in the area, in terms of disparity between schools so close together. I have to ask why that is, and if this project is gonna help with that issue. I don't think it is. I know a lot of you see them as just duplexes, but 9 years ago when we moved here, my husband was a police officer and we were facing a really difficult decision. He was making $15 an hour as a sheriff's deputy, and we had a young child with a lot of medical and educational needs. We had to make the decision if he was gonna leave law enforcement for better pay. And then we came upon the opportunity to buy our duplex over on Snybar Parkway. That gave us the opportunity for homeownership. It gave us the opportunity for him to stay a police officer, which was his lifelong dream. We were able to build equity and purchase our dream home. With this apartment building, you're gonna take that away from a lot of people in Green Valley. It was zoned for multifamily residential. You missed a golden opportunity to develop this area into multifamily starter homes that would have given young residents this opportunity. I know the cost of new construction and the rapidly decreasing profit margin and the ROI for starter families just isn't there. But these multifamily homes could have created a great opportunity for young residents of Green Valley to start off, build equity, and do the same thing I was able to do. My last concern is regarding, again, the code of conduct. Elected officials are here to represent the people, and even people with different viewpoints. It is possible to disagree and still inspire confidence in the people you serve. Referring to your constituents as opinions as bullshit or lies in person or on social media is unprofessional and doesn't portray the future of the Green Valley I'd like to see. If there's not a code of conduct on the books, I would strongly encourage the board to adopt one. I know it can be hard sometimes when people disagree and put you under scrutiny, but you can do it professionally.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to address the board?
My name is Baker and I am 10 years old. I grew up on Snybar Parkway on the south side of Green Valley. I have never seen many of you around the south side, so I want to tell you about my old neighborhood, what you call just duplexes. My friends and I learned to ride our bikes on the sidewalks where you are going to put a big apartment building. We learned to play basketball and football in that neighborhood. We had the best birthday parties in our backyards. My mom taught me how to be proud of our duplex, even though most of my friends live in bigger houses and nicer neighborhoods. She taught me how important it was to keep it clean and looking nice because it was ours. I moved to the north side of Green Valley, so this apartment will not affect me, but it will affect my friends who still live on Snybar Parkway. You shouldn't have to live in a rich person's house to be able to go to a good school, ride your bike, and play with outside with your friends. Putting in a big apartment building is going to take that away from my old neighborhood of just duplexing. In the future, when you guys vote, I hope you will think about kids like me and remember all the neighborhoods that are important, even if that neighborhood is just duplexes. Would any of you vote to put a big apartment building in your backyard? I don't think you would. While I'm up here, We need a new practice football field in Grand Valley, and Miss Lips at Snibar Elementary should get a raise. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Anyone else like to address the board? Seeing none, move on to the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we accept the consent agenda.
Okay, motion by Alderman Skinner to accept the consent agenda. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All right, seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. Seeing no previous business, new business, presentations, or public hearings, we'll move on to resolutions. First resolution is R 23-52. It's a resolution by the Board of Aldermen of the City of Grand Valley appointing Letitia Robinson to the Grand Valley Parks and Recreation Board for a 3-year term.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve resolution R 23-52.
I got a motion, Alderman Knox, to approve resolution R 23-52. Do I have a second?
Second.
Whoa, everybody. Alderman Arnold. Any discussion?
Mayor, members of the board, this would fill a vacancy on the Parks and Recreation Board.
Any discussion? All right, seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. All right, 6-0. Next up, we have resolution R 23-53. It's a resolution by the Board of Aldermen of the City of Grand Valley, Missouri, authorizing the city administrator to enter into an agreement with Quality Custom Construction for a new sidewalk on Ryan Road connecting Southwest Cross Creek Drive to the South Middle School entrance.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve resolution number R 23-53.
I have a motion by Alderman Mills to approve resolution R 23-53. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Arnold. Any discussion?
Mayor, members of the board, this was a project that was approved at budget time that is part of the CIP that was also approved. But basically, this would be that sidewalk section that's been missing in between Cross Creek Drive and the entrance to the school drive down on the south side of Ryan Road.
Any discussion or questions?
Have we had any conversation with the school about this project? Because my only concern is I want to see a sidewalk there and keep the children off the street. But where that's going to connect into the entrance to the school, they're going to have to cross the road to get to the sidewalk that goes to the school. And with the amount of traffic that goes in and out with parent drop-off there, that could be a concern of getting them across that road safely. I don't know what considerations have been done to address that crossing across the drive going into the school for the children that would be utilizing that walkway.
Yeah, I mean, I know I've talked to admin off and on about it. Shannon, I don't know if you had more.
We also needed to get an easement from
From the
the
school.
from the school district. So the Board of Education provided us with an easement in order for the construction.
Right.
And
No,
busy
this-
street, are you talking about Ryan Road?
Well, the school puts a cross guard out there already for those that come from Cross Creek across south to the school there. But if we're gonna have very many cross the street, they have just as much traffic turning in, almost all the traffic during that time period is turning and going into the school. And that puts those children walking across that road to get to the sidewalk that goes to the school. And I just wanna make sure we don't overlook the need to, how we're gonna.
Ryan Road?
Yeah.
Are you referring to Ryan Road?
Yeah,
So-
crossing the drive itself to get on the sidewalk to go to the school.
So I would assume that would be a responsibility of the school
Yeah,
to ensure access across that drive. I did want to just remind the board that you did approve in the budget for the installation of a pedestrian light, and that will be installed prior to school starting.
And that's for the crossing, coming across Ryan from Cross Creek
Correct.
over to the deal.
Correct.
You know, and that's, light is going in because of concerns of the high traffic and the children crossing the road. But yeah, we have just as high or even higher, in my opinion, of them crossing the driveway going from that sidewalk we're talking about putting in
Yeah, 'cause
to the sidewalk that goes. to
the way he's
school.
saying is the sidewalk to get to the middle school is on the west side of the drive, and the sidewalk will end on the east side of the drive.
Yes. Yeah,
That's what you're saying.
it's gonna we need to look at what's gonna happen here, because if we have any close calls, or God forbid anybody gets hit, there's gonna be people asking what we're gonna do about this. So, you know, we need to start looking into what options that prevail for us to make it safe for the children to utilize that sidewalk and get to the sidewalk going to the school.
Yeah, our first thing was to get them out of the street,
Well, I understand.
and that
yes.
was the installation of the sidewalk. So, well, you know, we could have conversations with the school district regarding the driveway.
Yeah.
But
And with my proximity to it, I can tell you, many more kids come from the south, or from the north coming south into the school district. While I see some, I don't see a high volume of children coming from the Cross Creek subdivision to the east there to the school. They might change with the sidewalk put in and so forth, but it's just one of them. It's a concern. I think that, you know, we don't wait till something happens to start trying to figure out what we may need to do there. We might need to look in what options are available there, because my wife watched one child get hit by a car crossing the road to get to school many years back on AA, and we don't want to see another one.
Any other questions or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Next one is Resolution R 23-54. A resolution by the Board of Aldermen of the City of Grand Valley authorizing the city administrator into an agreement with Falbridge Property Advisors to perform appraisal work and acquisition of easements for the Buckner-Tarzani Trail.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we accept resolution number R 23-54.
I have a motion by Alderman Skinner to approve Resolution R 23-54. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Alderman Knox. Any discussion?
Mayor, members of the board, as the title said, this has to do with the trail project there along Buckner-Tarzani Road. And this would get the easements and property that we need to make that project happen. As you can see in there, we had multiple quotes or bids on this, and we are going forward with the lowest cost bid.
Any questions or discussion? All right. Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. All right, that's it for resolutions. Next up will be ordinances.
This is the second read of Bill number B 23-22. This is an ordinance approving the final development plan and the final plat for the Creekside Village fourth plat.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we accept the second reading of Bill number B 2322 and approve it as ordinance 2428.
I have a motion by Alderman Mills to approve Bill B 23-22 for its second reading, making ordinance 2428. Do I have a second?
Second.
Alderman Skinner. Any discussion? All right, seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Actually, roll call. Roll call.
Alderman Arnold,
Yes.
Alderman Bray,
Yes.
Alderman Cleaver,
Yes.
Alderman Knox,
Yes.
Alderman Mills,
Yes.
Alderman Skinner.
Yes.
All right, that's it for ordinances. Next up, city attorney's reports.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the board. Just a couple quick things to report. First, this Friday is the Missouri Municipal Attorneys Association Conference. So our office will essentially be closing down on Friday because all the attorneys will be down getting their annual training updates on the law and everything like that. So obviously we always keep our cell phones handy if there's something that's needed, but we'll be doing that training. The other thing I think I've been kind of reporting as we go along, our firm has decided to expand. We're opening an office in Springfield, Missouri, and that office will actually be officially open next Monday, the 17th. So we're excited to bring that to that marketplace down there. That's all I have. Thank you.
Next up, city administrator and staff reports.
We just had one, Mr. Davies.
Mayor and board, as we continue the process with the updating of the city's comprehensive plan, as well as drafting of the new Parks Master Plan, we've got our second public open house that's being provided to the community. It's actually this upcoming Thursday, July 13th. It's going to go from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the Grain Valley Community Center. So if you're available and can join us, that would be great. We'll have representatives from Confluence there who's helping us guide us through this process, as well as several staff members. So that's this Thursday, 4 to 7 p.m. at the Grand Valley Community Center. And then, as you all are familiar with, back in January, we had a joint boards workshop on this subject with the Board of Aldermen, Park Board, and the Planning and Zoning Commission. We're having our second one next Wednesday, July 19th, from 6 to 7:30, right here in council chambers. So please put that on your calendar.
All right. Next up, Board of Alderman reports and comments. Alderman Arnold.
Nothing at this time.
Alderman Mills.
I just want to say to the three that came up here for public comment, thank you. I just ask in the future, before we vote on something, just get with your neighborhoods and come out and express your opinions and your concerns ahead of time. I know some of us kind of take Facebook with a grain of salt, but I really appreciate your comments and thank you.
Okay. Alderman Bray.
Nothing tonight.
All right. Alderman Skinner.
Riker, Miss Lips, is that the name? There is a school board member in attendance tonight. If you look kind of over your shoulder, so you might say something to him about that, so. That's all I have.
All right. Alderman Knox.
I have nothing, Mayor.
All right. Alderman Cleaver.
Nothing tonight.
All right. Next up is Mayor's Report. I have a couple of things. Number one, it's that time of year. I don't remember there are a lot of stuff, but where solicitors have been out and about, and I know we require them to have a license. I know we pass out the no soliciting list. They just seem to ignore a lot of those things. And along with that, I know I'm getting reports that they're ignoring like no soliciting signs on doors. I don't know if our only solution is have residents call the police if they're, I mean, I don't even know what can we even do. I mean, is there trespassing charges they can file or? I don't know.
Yeah, the best thing we can do is report. A lot of times these escalate to the point that they become a nuisance. But if we can get a hold of them sooner and we can ticket them, it actually, the word goes through the groups that they're with promptly. And then we normally get a positive response. It's been my experience in years past in dealing with solicitors.
So basically you tell residents the best option is to call the police and report them and then we'll take it from there.
Yes, and we had one problem we dealt with and we were able to successfully mitigate it. But it's again, we can identify the person with Ring cameras. We were able to identify the problem person. We went to the business owner and we took care of that particular problem. But again, it's trying to create open lines of communication so that we can appropriately respond.
I'll pass that along in emails I get. Now I'm just going to pick on you tonight, Chief, 'cause my next one's with you too. The license plate readers that we're going to have coming online here for too long. I think I don't know, I don't call it confusion, but there's concern from some of the residents about data being stored, what the data is used for, who has access to the data. And I think my understanding, it's not, I don't know if my understanding is correct or not, but I think we need to put out some type of informational item about that. Because my understanding is they're just pinging if there's some kind of report tied to that vehicle. We're not like saving databases and stuff of licenses, correct?
So the way all license plate readers work across the country is the same as this would work. We set thresholds in terms of if you're looking for a vehicle that was stolen, silver alert, an amber alert, maybe something that's associated to warrants, and those are put into the system. If those particular license plates would come into contact and be ran by a license plate reader, if the officer's logged in, it would alert them that there's a vehicle that just went by that was involved in a crime, a violent crime, whatever that threshold is that we're watching for. As far as the data that's obtained, it's just like any other law enforcement sensitive information. You can only access it relevant to particular investigative purposes. There has to be a reason to go in and start looking. There has to be a report or an incident that causes law enforcement to go do the search that's associated to look for some type of license that might be in the database. And then that, by state law, we have a retention requirement of at least 30 days that has to be kept. And then there's variations after that in terms of what that is.
Okay. Can we work on putting something together to get out that kind of explains that? I think people are just, afraid that they don't want their data from their license plates floating around out there, so.
Yeah, sure, we'll work on that.
I appreciate it, thank you. That is all I have for this evening. I do not believe we have a need for an executive session. So unless anyone has anything else, we'll adjourn.